We've got psychologist Dr. Shyam Bhat with us on the phone line, in fact joining us live right now. Dr. Bhat, I want to ask you, have you been getting a larger number of cases of people who are having anxiety either because they are cooped up at home or because of fear psychosis?
Sure, thank you. I'm a psychiatrist, but there's a distinction, but that's...
Sorry about that.
So yes, I am hearing from and seeing a lot of people from across the country, across the world who are going through severe stress and anxiety. Even people who have been struggling with some other issues, now the sharp focus is on what's happening with coronavirus, how it's impacted their life. As you know, this is affecting people in multiple ways. Firstly, it has, of course, affected the steps we need to take in order to prevent the spread of coronavirus. And it's a really good move that India is now in lockdown for 21 days. But of course, that has psychological implications for people. So, for example, people now, of course, worried about the virus itself. They have concerns about their health. They're worrying about maybe their parents' health, if they're elderly people in the family. Now, since there's lockdown, many people are sort of dealing with boredom, with feeling a sense of loss of purpose. Every time we go through a change in life, and this is important, I think, to understand psychologically, as far as the brain and the mind is concerned, if there is change in your life, and especially change that you can't control, and change that can affect your quality of life, that is extremely stressful for people. And so you have a situation now where there's change, there's an element of threat, whether it is to one's health or some people, many people are worrying about their financial futures, about the state of the economy and so on. You have that kind of threat going on. You also have some isolation, some loneliness, a feeling of being cooped up, a feeling of the wall sort of closing in. And so many people then experience anxiety and stress. And anxiety and stress, by the way, is a clinical condition when it crosses a certain threshold, but it's also something that the average human being deals with on a day-to-day basis to some extent. Now, if there's stress, of course, that affects a person's functioning, their mood, their thought processes. So, for example, among the many things you can experience if you're suffering from anxiety or stress are feeling irritable, feeling impatient, worrying about things, overthinking things, having what we call catastrophic thinking, where your mind projects into the future and you start thinking of some very horrible kind of outcomes. The body can feel tight. People can start suffering from headaches, neck pain, back pain. And so all of this, can combine if a person is not careful and they don't start taking steps to decrease stress, to manage anxiety, then this can actually become a clinical condition as well.
Dr. Bhat, I can't let you go without asking one question a lot of people have on their minds. Is it true that you can imagine your symptoms as well because of just the kind of pressure we are under and all the news that keeps coming at us?
You mean the symptoms of COVID-19?
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the mind is very powerful, and if you worry about getting these symptoms, and by the way, the early symptoms of COVID-19 are pretty non-specific, right? For example, mild, headache or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So for many people, I do see that where they start observing themselves, they start worrying, they almost start obsessing about, who did I meet? Did I touch somebody's hand? Did I touch this or that? So
yeah.
And then sometimes they feel maybe a slight body pain, maybe slight nasal congestion from an allergy.
Right.
And then suddenly they start worrying that they have COVID-19. You're absolutely right. That is happening.
Okay.
And that can lead to sort of overthinking and obsession about the health as well.
All right, which is not to play down the seriousness of people actually getting those symptoms, but it's just a perspective that a psychiatrist here is giving you as well. Yes, there's a lot of information, there's fear as well, but there could be onset of imagined symptoms as well. Thank you very much for clarifying that. Dr. Shyam Bhat, taking a quick break.